In a category bad movie references as workout titles, this is going to be called Band of Bottles. Now, today's workout, guys, and by the way, welcome to another episode of our homework workouts. Shaboom. What we're going to need is this, an elastic band, a set of bottles, and we're going to get a crazy workout in. So stay tuned and let's get started. Our warm-up is 7 minutes for quality. We're going to do a couple of different movements here. I have Jeremy and Sval here for you guys to demo. In the beginning, what I need you to do is get off the couch and try to do the movements with us so you get a good feeling for them before you actually start putting them in the actual quality AMRAP. You are going to need your band, so grab that, get off the couch and have a look at it. Our first movement will be a side plank hip lift, where we will start on the left side. So what we do first, we're going to position ourselves in a side plank. So let's get our hips off the floor. From now the hips try to remain off the floor. We're going to drive them up in the air, slowly lower, and drive them back up in the air. Boom. So you can either just gently touch the floor or barely touch the floor and can back up. Now the hardest part here is when you get your feet on top of each other. What Jeremy is doing right now, he's going to have his feet next to each other. So he creates more of a solid base to press upon, which makes it slightly easier to move here. Pressing through the elbow, going up and down. Perfectly done. Now obviously the second movement, we'll be doing this on the other side. Yes, that is the second movement, which we won't show you. Because why should we? We just showed them, right? So what we'll do now is we're going to get our band set up for the good mornings. So stand on your band, pull it around your head like a beautiful necklace. Get your feet in hip width stance. Get a slight knee bend. And we're going to start hinging from the hip. It's a good morning, we go back up. Now while they're executing this, couple of things to look for, guys. First of all, the knees are going to be on top of the ankle. I don't want the knees to move forward, too much involvement of the quads then. We're going to try to shuffle our butt back, bending from the hip, trying to find our hamstrings on the way down and really squeezing our glutes on the way up. So I don't want you to think of pulling the band up with your back. I want you to think of extending your hip using your butt. Use those glutes, baby. Good. If you really have a bad back or your back hurts from whatever you've done in the last couple of days, I want you to, like Jeremy now does, get rid of the band and just focus on doing a good morning without a band, because proper hinging is good for health. We just sold that to them. That's perfect. Now, our last movement of the warm-up will be our beautiful plank with alternating leg lifts, which we so love. So, here we go. In the plank, long arms. Now here, funny enough, before they start, if you narrow the feet, it is actually easier. And if you widen the feet, it's actually a bit tougher. Now from there, you're going to alternatively lift up a leg, pull it back down to the floor, and lift up the other leg. This is all glutes and hammies, guys. Now what you want to do here, and this is going to sound pretty weird, I want you to fight getting into an arch. So often when people start lifting up legs and stuff, you go into an arch, right? So using the lower back a bit too much here. I want you to focus on pulling from your hamstrings. So you're pulling your heel up, and you're squeezing your butt up, hold it there, and then you lower back down. Alright, thank you guys. We just showed you all of the movements that we're going to do in the actual warm-up right now. It is now time to actually start it. So I want you to get off the couch, to go to the floor, take the band with you, and before we start, already position yourselves on your side. So when I count you down, we immediately start on our first side plank on the left side so you can start doing those hip lifts. I'm going to be the one keeping track of time here. I have the SmartWatch app ready. It's set at 7 minutes for the quality AMRAP. Let's get into this one, guys. And we're starting the hip lifts in 3, 2, 1, and go. So Sval has his feet on top of each other, slightly harder. Jeremy has his feet next to each other and is also pressing a bit with the other hand on the floor. Still forcing the hip lift here. Beautiful exercise for the obliques, strengthening the abs there, strengthening the core. And we have 3, 2, 1, switch. Let's take 5 to 10 seconds to switch. I'll give you guys a go signal. Let's start again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. At home as well, we're just going nice and slow. If you in a second round want to do a couple of extra seconds of the hip lift in side plank, that is all good, all fine by me. In a warm-up, you want to take as much time as you feel is necessary. I have 5 more seconds and then we move on to Band Goodmornings. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Step into that band. Make sure you got a hip width stance going, and before you suddenly start leaning forward, think about bending from the hip first. So soft knees and then restart. Here we go, soft knees and bend and extend. It's 20 reps in total. I want you to keep an okay pace. They're doing pretty good here with the pace. I don't want you to do it too slow. We're just trying to lit up the back part of the body here. So sit back, squeeze your butt. Sit back, squeeze your butt. Get into that rhythm and make sure you keep the knees on top of the ankle and not go forward with them. It's not necessarily wrong, but we try to really focus on getting our hamstrings and glutes to work as much as we possibly can with this light resistance of the band. Now they're moving their way through 20 here, and upon completion of the 20, they'll probably get out of the band and go into a plank because they still have to do those lag lifts. Alright, so I'll just completed 20. He's going to ditch the band, Jeremy as well. They go into a plank. They obviously first set up their plank, shoulders in line with the wrist here. Here we go, and then start lifting alternately with the leg, one at a time. I want you to think of lifting up a straight leg as if you want to pull your heel to the ceiling while still squeezing your abs. And if you do that properly, so like I said, squeeze your ab, pull your heel to the ceiling, then you will have the action of the hamstrings and glutes doing most of the work here. Obviously, when you lift the leg up to forward, there's a tendency to shift to the side. We're always trying to fight that in plank. Always. Beautiful. Alright, so that was just one round. That took about 1.5 minutes. I need you guys to keep going for the rest of the 7-minute time frame. So continue and press pause. The middle portion of today will be our mobility portion. We're really going to focus on the squatting patterns here today. Now, instead of, as we normally do, take you along on the mobility portion, we're going to have the same setup, but we're going to have Sval demoing all the movements as they are intended, as they're in the programming. So really working on the squatting patterns. But it would be very difficult to do the entire mobility portion if you have just like bad knees or you have a knee injury coming along, right? In that case, I want you to really keep an eye on what Jeremy is doing and try to follow him along. I'll try to keep you guys entertained and involved in both of the two variations that we do. What you need to do first is set your timer at 45 seconds of work. Then 20 seconds of rest, and make that 6 intervals in total. We're going to do 3 different movements, repeat that loop twice. It's going to be good. So, first thing that you do, you're going to stand in a very wide stance. And Jeremy is sitting in a very wide sit. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1, and we're going to squat down in a sumo type of squat like Sval is doing. And I am okay with making this slightly more passive than it would normally be. So you can wiggle around a bit there, and it is okay to press your elbows on top of the knees. If you really want to challenge the squatting position, you can also get it off, get your arms moved forward, reach them in the air, but for now I'm okay with passive. Jeremy, in the meantime, is also working the groin area specifically and also the lower back, which is the same as with the sumo squat, by doing this in a straddled position on the floor, so his knees don't have to bend that far and he's still having a very good mobility session, working whatever he needs to work on. So we got 9 more seconds, guys, and then we switch to the second one, which is the Kang squat. 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds, I want Sval to already go into his regular squat stance. Guys, it's very simple. The commands are going to be hinge, squat, hinge, extend. That's what we're going to do, and Jeremy's going to walk his way up. Sval's going to start in 10 seconds, and I want you to pause every spot that you hit properly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So he's going to good morning first, hold it, pull himself into squat bottom, hold it, push back into good morning, hold it, and extend back up. Those are 4 different positions he's going to hold every time he goes into there. If you look at his upper body, it's actually going from upright to lean forward, back to upright, back to parallel to the floor, back to upright. And that's how it needs to go to the Kang squat. Jeremy's actually hitting the same positions here, as in for the hips and the knees, but without the pressure on the knees, by walking himself into a squat, walking himself into hinge, right? So we have more knee flexion, and then we suddenly have lots of hip flexion here. Beautifully done. So these are the 2 options that you can use. We're following along. We got 2 more seconds, and then we switch. And we have 20 seconds before we start our last movement, which is the bootstrap squat. Another dynamic movement, specifically for the real variation that Sval is doing. You're starting in 10 seconds. You can start by having your hands tucked underneath your toes. Good? And we start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Position number 1 is going to be butt all the way up. Arms long, stretching out those hammies and calves, and then pull your butt down, raise your chest up, keep your arms in between your knees, and sit there for a second and come back up. You're moving from one position into the other. Specifically guys at home as well, in that bottom position, really pull on your toes to get your chest up as high as possible. Solid. Now Jeremy at the wall, it has his feet pressed into the wall, has his knees out, and is pressing firmly into the wall to get a good stretch here on the glutes. It's way less taxing on the knees because he's statically holding and he's not really standing on top of it, but he can actually apply pressure by using his hands and press upon his knees. Alright, perfect. So, we rest, you rest, they rest, and it rests. One more round on your own, continue. Press pause. Part 3, the workout. It is a 12-minute AMRAP of 2 different movements. How we're going to do the movements is going to be 3 reps of each, then 6 of each, 9 of each, 12 of each, 15 of each. And I can keep going because I can actually count and maybe I'll get all the way up to 30. We'll see what happens. But that is the challenge for today's session. Now what we have is 2 movements and we have Saul and Jeremy. They're going to show you both of the movements and also provide you with some proper scaling options. Let's look at the 2 guys here and let's first zoom into the tuck up. We're going to start in a hollow. And in the start we're going to have legs off the floor, shoulder blades off the floor. In the middle position we're going to be in a complete tuck and then we're going to move back to hollow. Let's go. Boom and back. And now get your shoulder blades off the floor as well and get it together. Let's get a couple of reps in. Here we go. Boom. That's it. Here you have our tuck up. Solid work. They're very connected and close in the middle, and in that end position, the feet are not touching the floor. I do want you guys can rest. I do want you, when performing this in the workout, to also keep your legs and arms off the floor throughout a set. Once you drive your legs or place them on the floor, same as the arms, you call that a resting period in the set. Right? So I'm aiming for unbroken pieces here. Now let's just assume that Jeremy has some lower back issues coming on. He has some trouble with the Band Goodmornings as well. So what he's going to do is this. He's going to get his knees tucked up. He's going to get his shoulder blades off the floor. He's just going to hold this. For how long? Well, let's do double the amount of seconds of the repetitions in the workout. So 3 reps of the tuck up would be a 6-second hold. 30 seconds of the tuck up would be a 60-second hold. You're never going to get there in the workout, so that is all fine. I think that's a good substitution. You're still working the abs properly, but you don't have to go to that arch, which you never want to go to anyways. But let's look at the second movement of today, the bottle thruster. You're going to grab your bottles, make them as heavy as you can, right? You're going to get them on the shoulder, you're going to get your squatting stance, and we're going to squat down and then thrust all the way up. Let's go. Extend and go back into the rhythm. These are the thrusters that we're looking for today here, crew. Very simple movement, deep squat, full extended all the way overhead. If your mobility allows it, try to get your hip crease to go below the top of the knee. If that puts you in a very bad position, then aim to get as close as possible while still feeling safe and in control. Good, now let's have a look at Jeremy for some options with if you have an injury. First injury is going to be I cannot go overhead, which means he's going to do just proper front squats with the bottles on the shoulder. He's just going to squat and he's going to eliminate the top part where he thrusts the bottles to overhead. Injury scaling option for no shoulders. Injury scaling option for no squatting would be doing a type of clean and jerk movement. So the type of clean and jerk means he's going to lower the bottles to approximately knee height. He's going to clean them to the shoulder, pop, and he's going to bring them overhead. Why do we add the clean and that? Just do a couple of reps there. Why do we add the clean in there? To increase range of motion. A thruster is a big range of motion, it's lots of movement. Just doing the shoulder to overhead and portion of that would be a bit too easy, so we add that hang clean in there. I think those are perfect. Let's get started. You're going to set your smartwatch timer at a 12-minute AMRAP. You're going to have your bottles ready. We just practiced the 2 movements. It's now ready to get into that workout. Like I said, rep scheme 3-3, 6-6, 9-9, etc. Keep adding 3 reps. I'm going to walk to my timer, stay out of the sun. I have it here. I have Saul and Jeremy ready. I hope you guys are ready as well. It is time to get off that couch. And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. And 3 tuck-ups is the start of this one. Shoulder blades up, legs together. After 3, you're going to stand up, you're going to grab the bottles, and you go to what? Just 3 bottle thrusters. Here we go. And guys, since this is a 12-minute workout, I'll give you this very good piece of advice. Don't start out too fast. It is a workout where you get into the rep schemes of 18s and 21s, right? You don't want to blow out too much in the beginning. They're moving on to the round of 6 now, beautifully done. They're still trying to ease into it. Knowing that they're only working for 30 seconds now, so it'll take a while. There we go, and going to the reps of 6 thrusters. Jeremy got a no rep there in the first one, so he has to do another rep. You guys saw that? He wasn't going overhead, so he has to do 7 reps. That's terrible, man. Hey, and we're back. So that was 3 and 6. They're gonna go on to 9 right now. I need you guys to go on to 9 as well. So continue and press pause.